Okay, this next video or two or three will cover important information to the class, just dealing with general things about file saving, computers, and a little bit more about my videos. After watching these videos, you will complete a fill-in-the-blank quiz inside of Canvas. Take notes as I answer the questions here inside the videos, and the test should be fairly easy. Okay, a little bit more about my videos. I do not record my videos with very expensive equipment and spend hours editing them. However, I do spend hours creating videos that I hope you'll agree are for your benefit. I really want those who want to learn to have a chance to do so. So that's the point of putting a lot of the instruction in video form. I could take these videos into editing software and get rid of all my grammatical errors and so on. However, I'm very analytical, and that would take me so long that I'd never finish the videos in time for class. I really do want to know about mistakes that lead to confusion and you're not being able to follow the video instruction, or even things that you notice could lead to confusion for other students. For example, sometimes I might say, go up here and click on the XYZ button, and really it's called the ABC button, and I just goofed. Please let me know about things like that, and then I will update the mistakes section like I showed you in the welcome videos. Take care of a quiz question. I do blank record my videos with very expensive equipment and spend hours editing them. Not is the answer. If you notice errors in my videos, I want to know. You'll probably find this question very familiar. Please email me through Canvas and tell me which video, what the mistake is, and what blank time in the video the error occurred. If you tell me all this, including the time in the video that the error occurred, then what I do is I go back in to the table of contents for the video and add something right here under the very start of it, under mistakes, tell you where the error occurred so that as you watch the video, you know what to look out for. Last semester, a student was kind enough to tell me that she had just finished telling her partner that her instructor was asking her to do something that he did not explain, meaning me. Her partner said, I'll watch the video with you because, to be honest, you're not the best listener. They watched the video. Turned out that I did actually explain it, and she was big enough to admit that to me. So the point is, even if my videos are not perfect, or let's say as imperfect as an in-class lecture might be, they are recorded for your viewing and reviewing, and we have a solid plan in place to report any mistakes for each other's benefits as soon as possible. Okay, let's move on and talk about important Mac stuff. This will be important because I make my videos from the Mac platform, and if you're taking an in-class class or going to our labs, you'll probably be using a Mac. So if you've never used a Mac before, they can be a little bit on the campy side. Like, for example, the on-off switch on an iMac is very hidden on the back. You have to reach around and feel for a divot on the back, and that's the on-off switch. Usually in a lab, the power will be left on in the computers. Another example is that if you have a thumb drive hooked like into your desktop, let's say you had your thumb drive here and you want to eject it, you actually drag it over to the trash can. You can also right click, and I'll talk more about right clicking to come up with menus in a bit here. Probably the biggest difference is the command key on a Mac. So right on either side of the space bar, you have a command key. You also have an option key instead of an alt key, although most Macs list it as option on the bottom of the key and do write alt on the top of the key. When learning software, approach it as a troubleshooter. That's the best advice I can give you. Keep your eyes wide open. Sometimes things move locations, whether you're watching my videos or videos on LinkedIn Learning. So you've got to be really aware. Don't just throw your hands up and give up because you can't find something immediately. Some things could be in different places just because your screen size is smaller, or because you are or are not working on a Mac. Never be afraid to pause the video and Google the subject. Be willing to try things out, but of course save your work or even just open up a brand new file and just start goofing around, and chances are you'll find it. The worst thing you can do is wait till the last minute to do your homework where you feel like you're under the gun, under pressure. That is the worst time to learn and navigate in new software. Now, I can help as much as possible, but sometimes between classes you may find an issue that you can't describe via email or might even be specific to your computer. So that brings us to a quiz question, and I'll fill that in and read through it. One of the most challenging things about learning software away from the classroom is that a problem could be one simple user error, which means you might have to go back and watch the video again, um, actual software issue or a setting in the software, or three, it could be a hardware problem. Now, I'm a graphic designer, not a computer technician. I'll help you to the best of my ability, but I do ask that you do some basic troubleshooting first. And then the best way to ask a software question between classes would be to make a video of the issue. Show me what you're doing and tell me what you're expecting to see and what you're actually seeing. And then email me the link to the video through Canvas. When all of the instruction was in the classrooms, it was pretty rare that a student would come up to me with a software issue that I could either not figure out or find a workaround for. Um, in class, we had the luxury of trying the thing on another computer and then, thereby eliminating if it was a hardware issue. Now, I definitely can't fix your hardware issues, so it's going to be a challenge, but hopefully, we can get it done. Obviously, if it's a new computer, you've got the resources available, via your troubleshooting warranties and things like that. But some basic suggestions would be to first reboot the computer. It's amazing how often that solves a software issue. Review the instructions one more time and see if you still have the issue. In other words, be a good troubleshooter, and then if you do, shoot me the video. PC users may have to do more Googling than Mac users. I started out on a Mac in college. The college labs use Mac. Most creatives, animators, designers just generally use Macs. So you may have to, if I say, use the command H key to do this, you may have to say, ooh, what is that for a PC? And then look up whatever it is that we're doing and say, how shortcut for doing this on a PC. Most of the time, I'll show you going from the menu on how to do things, so it should be pretty universal from Mac to PC. So there's nothing wrong with using a PC. It's just that most creatives use Macs. They were just, the best thing at the time, and some people still feel like they are. Ultimately, if it's not a classroom computer, you're going to have to take the responsibility for your computer, and then do, like what we talked to, make a video, get the question across from me. After you have the software installed on your computer, if you don't have an icon for it here, you can just go up to the magnifying glass, type in the name of the software. So let's say I'm trying to find Illustrator. It usually only takes a couple letters and the item shows. Then you just hit return. It opens up. If you want to keep this icon in the dock, like you see the other icons here, you can simply right-click, or if your right-click is not enabled on a Mac, you hold down the Control key and click, and then you would go to Options, and you would say Keep in Dock, and then next time you open up your computer, Illustrator icon is there, and you just click on it to open the program. There's a prime example of something that if you're working on a PC, you would just have to Google, like how to keep an icon on my computer, and maybe, your PC software doesn't have them on a dock at the bottom, but you just have to keep them on your desktop or something like that. But with a little bit of searching, you can figure out all these little tricks that'll make your life a little bit easier. One thing that's frustrating to a lot of new Mac users is the missing right-click function. That's easy to fix. You just go up to the little Apple icon on the very top left of the screen, go down to System Preferences, find the mouse inside of System Preferences, click on it. Now, you're going to have to use your imagination a little bit with me because I'm working on a desktop, but I have the instructions written down here. So what will happen is if you're on say an iMac, you'll see to the left of the mouse a drop-down menu and to the right of the mouse a drop-down menu. If you click on the drop-down menu on the left, you should see that it's set to primary. On the right, it may also be set to primary. So that means whether you click on the left or the right side of the mouse, it does the same thing. But all you have to do is click the little drop-down on the right side, change it to secondary, and then your mouse is set up to right-click. And you do very similar if you need to change something on the keyboard. And you can save yourself the trouble of closing this and going back and opening it by going up to this little icon right here and click on keyboard, for example. And this right here is very important if you're in the animation class. If you check this, what will happen is when you press one of the F keys, it works like an F key. If this is unchecked, for example, and you press F12, it will increase your volume. If you click this and you press F12, it will do whatever F12 is assigned to do in the software. And in Adobe Animate, you're using the F5, F6, and F7 key constantly, so you do want that checked. And then you might be thinking, well, how would I turn up or down my volume? What you do on a Mac is you press the FN key and then F12, and that would increase your volume, or FN, F11 to decrease your volume. And FN is literally a lowercase f and a lowercase n altogether. Like on my computer right now, it's about 4 keys away from the space bar, but that could vary depending on your keyboard. Favorite shortcuts with you, and that is if you need to get back to your desktop, maybe to get out a folder or something, the quick and easiest way to do that on the Mac is you got to find a piece of real estate of the desktop to click on, but often there's one like right here at the very bottom left. No matter how much stuff you have opened up, there's usually a little something here. So you go down here, you click on it, and that just makes the desktop become active. Like, let me just show you. If the last thing you were clicked on here was, say, your browser, you see up here it says Chrome. If I go down here and I click in this area real estate, you see how it changes to Finder, which is pretty much the default app for a Mac. And then once that's done, you go Command Option H, which is a shortcut for hide. Hide everything but the desktop. Let me show you one of the easiest ways to rename files on a Mac. Get to the desktop. Okay, so let's say you have a file or a folder and you want to rename it. You just simply click on it and hit the return key, and that takes you inside and you can rename whatever you clicked on. The other way to do it is to click and then click again, but sometimes that leads to a double click and it can be kind of frustrating. This also works inside of the file structure for a Mac, and to get at that you typically click on the little Finder icon down at the bottom, and let's say that inside of here is a file that you want to change the name of. You just simply click, hit return, and again you can change the name of that file or folder. We'll continue this in the next video.